Howdy everyone, how are we doing? This is it. The electrics are done. Things have been tidied a bit. Not quite perfect yet though. So the next stage is taking this alcove over here, putting in some shelves, sort of maybe a couple of shelves up here, a work surface around about sort of midway. There's some storage underneath. It's going to be make it up with what I've got as I go. It's going to house my little new toy, which will be appearing in a video soon, no doubt. So the first step is moving all the junk over here to this corner over here. So let's get started. Hey!
And so, set the camera up and then we're off. Moving things around, tidying up a little bit. As with any kind of workshop development and tidying project, it's got to get worse before it gets better. A little bit of brushing up and a lot of moving around. While I've been been reviewing the different pieces of wood and bits of different timber that I've got, considering what I could use to build out the alcove.
So, the plan as it stands. An old worktop and a bit of scrap cut down to the width of the alcove. This is going to be our desktop. This is going to give us 82 centimetres front to back and have a section for some cables to go through. We'll tidy this up along the way. That's going to go in just below this plug top here. That's going to give me a work surface for my CNC machine. And then after that we'll work out the heighting for just a couple of shelves up here. Storage underneath for now is just going to be boxes. We're going to use some of this material here to make shelving. This is all an old wardrobe. Sections of a nice, lovely walnut wardrobe. It's either this, it's going to be the top, or this old marine ply. I'm leaning towards this just because it's going to be that little bit stronger and give us a little bit more rigidity. So, now the alcove's empty. The first step is taking something that we know is a true square, in this case a machine shelf, so we can guarantee that this will be more or less 90 degrees. I'm just going to offer that up to the wall here, just to show us that the walls are somewhat square, which I'm happy with for now. So what that's going to tell us is going to tell us that we can put two battens here. It's going to be the same width as the front as it is at the back, which is good for us. Need to work out my heights exact. Need to see if the floor is level so that we know that our measurements up from each side. But for the most part we can just follow a course of bricks, go round as long as the course of bricks are all level. So by grabbing a trusty spirit finder, which has got a little bubble inside, a little friendly bubble, and what we can do is we can just offer this up to a line of bricks, take it roughly on the top of the bricks, and I can see there bubble is plumb in the centre, maybe a little bit out on that course, a little bit out on that, so we might need to mark our own level line. But that's not a problem, we can do that. Next question is the floor level. So if we come down to the floor, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take the level, we're just going to offer it up there. Again, we can see that we have a slight dip off to the right, so it's going slightly downhill this way there, but it's not a very even floor. But for the sake of what we're doing, it's close enough. So the next step is marking up and cutting to length our side battens. So I've got these old 4x2s just kicking around. So we're going to come here, we're going to mark 82. Which is going to be the approximate depth of our desk. Take a nice carpenter square. With this set square, just score ourselves a line across there. Flip it around. Mark that corner there round, so we can see where we're going on this side and then down that side there. That'll give us a guide so that we make sure that we're cutting straight down for this project. Not a huge level of accuracy required, but let's get that cut. So one piece cut, we need one more side batten at 82 and a couple of width battens at the width of the alcove as well. But that's easy as doing this. Ta-da! Right, so now the plan is we're going to go a batten across the wall over here, a batten across this side of the alcove, 2 battens running across for the top to sit on. We'll throw it on and we'll see how it goes. So our next step is to pilot hole these. We've got a small drill bit, we're going to pilot hole through. The drill bit is going to go through the first one and mark our hole on the second one. We can then take the first one off, drill holes all the way through. That's going to allow the screws to take into the wood nicely, attach to the wall, into the wall plugs that we're going to install next. Or maybe not. So I had my drill bit set up just a little bit shy to go all the way through. Little mistakes. All we can do to fix that, loosen off our drill a little bit. Not best practice, but we make do and mend here. Put the drill bit in like this, and we can now see it's going to go all the way through. We'll reset the wood up, and we'll do that again. Making sure that we're nicely lined up at the edge here. Nicely lined up at these edges here. We then know that our holes are going to be centre and equidistant to the edges. And going down. By bottoming out those holes, we can tell that we're going to leave ourselves 3 nice marks on the next piece. We can drill those and then we're all ready to go and get them up on the wall.
So then we moved over, we took a level line, took some measurements, marked a line across the left hand side of the alcove, which gives us a nice solid, definitely plumb line to work to. Then drilling 3 pilot holes for the roll plugs to fit in. I could then attach the batten to the wall using some nice long screws I had lying around to give us a good fixing to the wall.
So this is one side support installed. We need to get another one over here. I'm very happy that that is more or less level enough for what we're doing. I'm then going to follow this level round here because we have a slight decline toward the back. This being here being slightly higher from the ground than this front here. This is the desired 92 centimetres that I was looking for.
So then, using the left batten as a starting point, I could go round and make some marks all the way around the alcove, making sure we were keeping at the same level all the way round so that we're going to have a uniform and level desk that's hopefully not going to allow things to roll around too much on it.
So we can see here the level line that I've drawn across and how unlevel this courseworker brick is. Starting here about an inch down below the brick course, ending over here at the top edge. So all I've done is I've carried round the level. This is the desktop level that we want. I've carried that onto the wall, round best I can. We can see coming onto this brick course here. Now these bricks here are in a lot better state. We can see a mark laid out just here, but they are also just dropping away a little bit. But it's close enough. Again, we're not looking for perfection. We're looking just for a perfect level.
So here, just quickly attaching up the right hand side batten before moving on to cutting the tops to length. At this point I'd already cut the smaller piece of wood to length, so I bring it over to use it as a reference for the larger offcut. Setting up a straight edge at the right distance, grabbing a handsaw and just cutting it out by hand. With a little bit of care and a little bit of slow and steady work, it's perfectly easy to get a nice clean and straight cut with just a handsaw. As it cuts towards the end here, you can see I am supporting the offcut. We still get a little bit of tear out that just needs cleaning up with a few strokes of the saw once it's cut through.
So this is the desktop cut. We've got one short piece, it's going to go along the back side, and a larger piece with what will be our cable holes nicely through there. So these just slot in. If we take this, we can drop it in from one side, slide that to the back. Take a large piece, do the same with that, drop it in at one side, drop it down, giving it a little wiggle till it drops, and we can shunt it back like that. So we've now got a nice little work surface. We can see in the middle there is a little bit of a bow. I'm going to alleviate this with the stretchers that we cut earlier. So these are going to go along the bottom, one in the midpoint here, one at the cross point between these to stop this back one flexing and this one flexing, so that's going to go down the middle. We can then bring our small cable hole slightly bigger, neaten it up a bit. But it also means that we can do this. We can lift up this back, which can suffice as a bit of access if we ever need to drill anything down the back of it. For an afternoon, with a few hand tools and a few scraps left over, it's going to do us fine.
So with the desk almost finished, it was then adjusting the stretchers to the right length and building a couple of small noggins just for them to sit on. Instead of using L brackets, I thought I'd just use some scraps of wood I've got screwed in that allow the stretchers to then sit across it. This fit on nicely and I was happy with the result. I also remembered I had a little bit of a rubbery neoprene-like material left over from another project, and thought that putting a layer of this in between the framework and the desktop may reduce any vibration, noise and vibration in general that might come from running a piece of machinery on top of the desk. I thought it was worth throwing on. It was some scraps I had left over, so that's what I did next. Just stapling it on with basic staples, with the idea that then once the top is screwed down to it, it would become compressed and capture some of those vibrations perhaps. Once the top was on and I had a fiddle around, got them into the right place, I started wondering if I needed a second stretcher because it was feeling pretty sturdy at this point, but I decided to keep the stretcher to one side and just pop it at the back of the desk.
And there it is. A very simple, thrown together, intuitively designed desk that's either going to house my new machine, or I'm thinking at the moment it's going to become my computer workstation where I'm going to be able to run my laser cutter and my CNC from. The CNC can go on the desk, which I was going to use as my computer desk. Computer's going to go on here because it's just a nice little working height and kind of a catch-all workstation. And so there we are, nicely finished. Nice clean space to build up a little workstation. The only problem is, the worst part of any kind of sorting out in any kind of workstation, workspace area, is it just causes chaos everywhere else. Because you've got to move everything out the way. We're slowly getting there. The workshop's starting to take shape. Workbench is chaos. I've got a storage solution hopefully for over here. Need to insulate the garage doors. Then we can actually get round to actually making some things. And the hope is that we'll be able to make some nice things this year. Got a few projects in mind, some little bits of restoration projects, some other ongoing creative projects I've been working on for a while. Thanks for watching. Let me know if this is interesting at all. If you're enjoying yourself, drop a like, a comment and a subscribe if that's what you want to do. I'm not the boss of anyone, but if you just want to see what kind of clean, tidy workspace can be made out of something that currently looks like complete chaos, stick around, come watch, join us for the journey. I'm intrigued to find out too.